Hello and welcome to 27 by 40. My name is Chris.
This is Emmett.
And this is episode 9, and this year, 1944. So, for those who...
Wait. It's 1944 this year?
This year is 1944.
Oh my god. I don't even know how to process that.
Rolling back.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, this is a video podcast where we pick posters from a particular year. In this case, it's 1944, and we pick our top 5 posters from the year. We don't have to have seen the movie or like the movie. It can help. We've done a number of years. We pick a random year every episode. We've done a number of years. Last week we did 1994, so we're jumping back 50 years for this one.
Yeah, we've done 51 before, which is sort of similar to this a bit.
Yeah. But this was definitely, for me, this was the toughest year yet to do in terms of picking.
Yeah.
I didn't really like any of the movie posters. Like there was I got 5.
So you have nothing. You just have 5 blank screens.
I had it's just same poster 5 times. No, I ended up with 6.
Yeah.
And I was glad 6 because then I could drop the one that I wasn't like. I was like, it's good, but it's not. And so like I had to be like, because for me a lot of it was like the posters, they all just look the same.
Yeah.
They really just look the same.
Well, it's really similar to like the 51 thing.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely a slow progression there.
Yeah.
The 44 ones really felt like about the halfway point between like the 30s ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
Which like 30s isn't really on our list. Like we're not going that far back, and after this we might not want to go back to 40s anymore. But but like it feels very similar to like it's like halfway between like the 30s ones and like the 51 one that we did already.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that kind of works. Like that's exactly where it kind of falls because it has some sort of that feels similar, but so it kind of they stuck with that basic style for a long time.
These posters are almost all painted posters.
Yeah. Which in itself is a good thing, but the problem is
just usually like just they're very functional, but they're not very creative. And like I
mean, maybe at the time they were considered,
I mean, here's the thing: I didn't find any of them like kind of that like offensively ugly, like the way like the early 91s are. Like, oh, these are just an art crime. Like these were all just fun, like well painted, but like everyone looked like the last
at least
one.
Artistic, right?
Yes.
Whereas like a lot of that early 90s stuff is just really they're just little like bad paste up jobs.
Yeah.
That are just not artistic at all.
So I had to take a page out of something that you did in a previous episode where I had to start going foreign films.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up doing some American releases, some foreign film, and some foreign release posters. So like an American film and its foreign release poster.
Okay.
Because something I've realized with the older stuff, a little more artistic liberty in the foreign, in like the French and European market than I find definitely the French. Like if I found an ugly poster or a poster I was like, this seems all right, and I went and looked at like the French version, I'm like, oh, they just did a way better job on the French, like But yeah, I think I've got this set up for myself to go first this week. So find out in a hot second here when I double click this file. It is
House of Frankenstein.
Yeah, so I went with House of Frankenstein, which it is a very functional poster. It's just basically tells you exactly what's in the movie.
Right.
We're just what if all of the monsters were in a movie? And we got the Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, John Carradine, whole 9 yards. Shows all of the monsters there in the same way as like those movies show all the cast. But I just really like how it's set up. I like the yellow-blue contrast. I really dig the House of Frankenstein font. I think it really stands out well. It actually I kind of want to see this movie. I don't know if it's any good, but I kind of want to see this movie.
You gotta have you got to have if you're looking at old like this era and stuff like that, you got to have Universal Monster one on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a given. You got to have at least one of those. Something funny that I actually found out because of this. Because of this list. Something I didn't know about is that on a lot of the billing and stuff of this era, you'll see Lon Chaney Jr. just billed as Lon Chaney. And with no Jr. Also, I found out, in addition to that...
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, yeah.
His name was not Lon Chaney Jr. It was not Lon Chaney in any way. He had, like, a different... Like, his name was, like Creighton or something like that.
Oh.
Chaney.
It just...
He started off his career being credited under his actual name.
Okay.
But the studio was like, no, we want to bill you using, like, your dad's name to, like, kind of push that connection and make it more...
Oh, so cash in.
So he had to, like, he had to start...
Creighton Tull Chaney.
Yeah, so he had to start going by Lon Chaney. So now, like, my whole life, I've always just known him as Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah.
But that was not something that they actually called him until much later. So originally he was credited, like, when he first started his career, his early bit part roles and stuff, he was credited as like Creighton Chaney or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they started doing Lon Chaney, but they don't even put the junior, they just put Lon Chaney as if it's like as if it is Lon Chaney. It's gonna fool you, like, oh, that's Lon Chaney, it's Lon Chaney, and it's like, no, it's like his son, it's his son. Right? Because Lon Chaney Sr. died in like 1930.
Yeah.
Right? So, but they were really pushing.
Well, bits of him are in Frankenstein. They just dug him up. And
they were really pushing that whole, and that was like a studio thing apparently. So I mean, you go back to that era. I mean, that's what happens, right? The studio just tells you this is what your name is going to be. Yeah. You know, even and a lot of like stage names and stuff that people have, they weren't necessarily their choice or like what they decided to go under. A lot of times, the studio would just tell you this is going to be your new name. You know, which is pretty wild. I mean, at least there is a connection there. I mean, his father, he really is the son of Lon
Chaney part.
He is the son of Lon Chaney, so calling him Lon Chaney at least somewhat works, especially when they do the junior thing. Yeah. But that was never his actual name, and I had no idea of that. I only just found that out as a result of this.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know it's kind of like a stupid little like trivia thing. But like for me,
wild,
who has been a fan of like those movies for a long time, and I never realized that, and I've only found out because of seeing on the poster, and the poster made me like, I gotta look into this. You know, I looked into it because of seeing on the poster, why does it just say Lon Chaney? And that's why.
I am slightly confused by the Mad Doctor character. Because I'm like, oh, Frankenstein's monster, sure. Wolfman, sure. Dracula, sure. Hunchback, all right, sure. Yeah. And Mad Doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, from the famous Mad Doctor movie.
The reason for that is because Karloff was like the biggest star in the movie, and he plays the Mad Doctor in the movie. Karloff does not play the monster in this movie. Right?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Karloff only played the monster for those first two Frankenstein movies.
Oh, okay. So he's the Mad Doctor, but they wanted Boris Karloff. Huh.
Yeah, so that's probably why they included that.
Right. All right. Sure.
Also, like the Mad Doctor and the Hunchback character, who is like basically like his assistant, are pretty much like the main characters of the movie.
Okay.
So
you've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like they're kind of the main characters, so they sort of had to include them, even though they don't really fit with like the Frankenstein monster, the Wolfman, and the Dracula, which are like the big name monsters. But Dracula is played by John Carradine in this, and he's only in it for like a couple minutes. Right? And then later on they meet I forget the guy, Larry Talbot, which is the Wolfman, which is Lon Chaney's character, obviously.
Yeah.
They meet him later, and then he becomes a fairly main character, but he doesn't even become the Wolfman again until like near the end.
Oh. Jeez.
Right. So it's a bit deceptive in that way.
Okay.
Because it was meant to be like it's like the Avengers of monsters. It's like the big team up of like.
Yeah, but what if only one Avengers at any time?
But like,
and most of the time you were hanging out with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And Bruce Banner. Not the Hulk, just Bruce Banner.
Yeah, like, and not even, because at least those are still somewhat beloved characters.
Yeah.
But these are just like new characters that have nothing to do with anything. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. It's still a good movie, but it's just not necessarily what you'd expect.
All right, so your number.
It's a weird little history lesson.
No, I love a weird little history lesson.
Yeah.
All right, so your number 5.
Well, like I said, you have to go with the Universal.
Yeah.
And again, we got Lon Chaney going because, he's Karis, which is like the traditional wrapped up mummy that just shambles around and like kills people, as opposed to when Karloff played the mummy in the first movie, where it was like the Imhotep, mummy, which is like different, unwrapped and smart and walking around and talking and having plans and machinations. Whereas this is just the like semi-mindless mummy. This is the one I was talking about where like when Lon Chaney Jr. played the mummy and like he had like the thing with like the tube of like vodka.
So
that he could just sip and be drunk like all the time because it was such a miserable experience.
Yeah.
This was like that when that was happening. Because I think this is the last one that I think this is maybe not the last one, but I think he only did a couple of these, and then he was just like, "No, I'm out." And then they brought in like another new guy, but of course it didn't matter because he's like just a wrapped up mummy shambling around, so it's irrelevant. We got John Carradine again here, and I mean they made these movies so fast back then. Like there's at least 2 of these mummy movies just this year.
Yeah,
but this is the one that I preferred the poster for. So this is the one I went with.
Yeah, and this is a good one. It's the other thing. A lot of movies, a lot of blank space. Yeah. No real blank space in here. I liked characters.
The thing with putting the title and credits and stuff on like the shape of the
casket
in the like I thought that was kind of neat. And I like the painting. I like the way the characters look. That was my choice.
That's a good one.
The House of
Frankenstein
one like that we were just looking at. For me, it's too much of the like just like the little
character heads
lined up along the bottom, and like it's just a little bit too much. They're
a little fancier with it on this one.
Yeah. But I mean, they're like the difference is so small. Like it's like I knew I was going to go with at least one Universal film. There's probably like 4 of them out from that year, and this is just the one that I like the best of poster wise. So yeah. That's why I went with this one. Yeah. But again, just like it was your 5, it's my 5. Because it's not one of the best, but you got to have one Universal if you're going to be back then.
I figured I'd have at least one going into it because like this is right at that time.
Of sort of like the revival period, right? Like in the later sort of 40s where the
second run,
because they kind of stopped making them for the most part in the later 30s because they were like, how do we make these with under the code? And then they had to kind of figure out how they can get away with making them. So it took a while for them to sort of come back to them. So they made a lot in the early 30s and then not so much in the later 30s. And then in the 40s, they kind of came back.
Yeah. All right.
So it'll be for your 4.
And this has
got to be a foreign one, right?
I think so. Yes, I think this is the French
Les Productions.
Yes, this is the French version.
Fox Europa Présentant.
There were this was a big movie in 1944. I haven't seen it myself.
Yeah.
And there were a ton of different variants of American posters. Yeah. But I didn't really like any of them. I'm like, this movie was very popular. There's got to be something overseas. So I just typed in the movie and I typed in like French poster.
Right.
And like this popped up and I was like, okay, want to make sure that it was like from the time, and it was like, okay, nope, this is a release. And again, I really like it's got that dark bright contrast, and I bet like the Frankenstein one does. I really like the font for the Laura.
That's
with
cool.
the weird L and then the A that goes off.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure because David Lynch is a big fan of like old noirs and stuff, and he took a lot of like influence and inspiration from things and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure this is where he got the name Laura for Laura Palmer for Twin Peaks.
Oh, like interesting.
I'm pretty sure because I know that like he uses a lot of stuff from like old noirs and stuff like that, and is influenced by that. So I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Well, that's
Don't quote me on it because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Also, just looking a bit into this movie, again, it's a noir film. I like myself a noir film. I ended up putting it on my list because I'm like, it's got like 100% of Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm gonna look into this further. But
I mean, it kind of spoils it because we can already tell from the poster that he projects her into the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
At the end, so
is that what's happening?
Yeah,
here?
that's clearly
right into the Phantom Zone.
That's a Phantom Zone projector.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing.
Jeez. Oh, suck it, Superman. I guess it was Zod who was sent to the Phantom Zone. So. Yeah. All right. So now it'll be your 4.
Yeah. It's Curse the Cat People. The sequel to the Cat People, which we have done an episode on Cat People, and this has very little to do with it.
Yeah.
Even though it has several of the same actors playing in the same characters, but the actual story is like almost completely unconnected.
Such a weird.
Well, it's because it wasn't really intended to be.
To have it was like a cash in.
Yeah, it was basically just a cash in. And the actual story has to do with like ghosts and like family drama and stuff. It has basically like nothing to do with Cat People.
Yeah, because Cat People was great.
Yeah. But I thought it was kind of an interesting poster. I don't really know the characters. Yeah, it's a nice painting. I don't really know the characters, but like that one main lady is just like really staring into your soul. Mm-hmm. Like that seems like an inappropriate amount of eye contact.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what's happening with the kid and the I mean,
is she brushing the kid's hair away, or is she like mind controlling her through her temples?
Yeah, it's very intriguing. Mm-hmm. Hence, its inclusion.
Yeah.
Also, the cat looks pretty cool.
Yeah. It's got kind of like,
especially since I'm pretty sure there are no cat people in the actual movie. But yeah,
it's just a curse in the movie. No actual cat people. Just.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, in a more general sense, like like the curse of the cat people is that like to have crappy lives. Basically.
I see.
You know,
damn.
We can never have anything nice because we're cat people.
Oh.
You know. But yeah, I don't know. It seems all right.
It's good. It's good.
It's a little more aesthetically nice versus the Mummy.
No
one.
Floating heads in this one.
Yeah. So that's why I bumped it up once by a spot. It's 4 instead of 5.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, along similar lines, you know, broadly speaking, horror poster from the 40s. So, yeah, pretty cool font. I think the title looks pretty nice. Color choices are pretty nice.
Yeah, nothing like it. The text is very easy to read, but doesn't like clash badly. Yeah.
It's all right.
No, it's good. All right. So my number 3.
Oh, yeah.
This one I thought was just kind of like wild, like the giant.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a picture from out of this world, like bold claim, and then like the giant.
Well, they are trying to sell
monster.
I mean, to be fair, the purpose of the poster is to sell.
You know, it's one of the few where like the cast, like I guess the main. Mm-hmm. Like leads are like can't see their faces.
Yeah,
like they don't. Like we see the monster's face, but obviously he's make-upped and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, plus which I mean, with it, I mean it's obviously just another painting, so it's like you know, we don't really know like what do they actually look like in.
Oh, in the movie?
Yeah, like in live action, like what, did they look anything like that?
Yeah,
but no, it's a good one.
It's got that pulp cover look to it.
Yeah.
Well, the Curse of the Cat People had sort of a similar vibe too.
I really like that kind of handwritten.
Oh, the like, script.
Yeah, like it kind of like is cool. Mm-hmm. I think for like long titles like that, it works really well.
Yeah, well, because you're reading it. It's not just something you're glancing.
Yeah,
and
like I think. Like. For long titles, when you see long titles all like printed out like block letters and type of stuff, sometimes it looks a little weird. Mm-hmm. You know, like if they put you know, like where it says a Republic picture underneath, mm-hmm. like if the title was in that style of writing, it would have looked
way less evocative.
It would have looked really weird, right?
Yeah.
But that kind of like handwritten sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I think is really cool.
It's a Republic picture. Back when that was the thing.
Makes me wonder if it was a serial potentially, because a lot of Republic stuff was serials, and And that was certainly the era of cereals, so it makes me wonder.
Lady and the Monster, part of this complete breakfast.
I'm not familiar with it myself. But it's a good one. I definitely saw it. I saw it when looking through the list of stuff to pick. It's not a bad one.
If there was one thing I had to say about 1944, just volume-wise, half as many movies as some of
it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the issue is there's a rather large elephant in the room, which we have not addressed yet, which is the fact that a lot of the stuff around this time was either relating in some way to the war, or they didn't make as many movies because of the war, because a lot of the movie stars and stuff were away, or
just the whole thing
there was a lot of interruptions. People were off doing stuff. Probably some of the crews and stuff were gone. And then
the means of production.
A lot of the movies from this era. There's a lot of propaganda films.
Yeah. And they all have terrible posters.
Recruiting films and, educational film. A lot of directly tied into the war effort or into the military type of films.
Such a different vibe from when we did the 50s ones. There was a lot of war films. But completely different style.
Yeah, well, that's more after the fact kind of our brave, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
But this being right in the middle.
I mean,
actually,
majority of the movies were war films or I guess romantic.
Yeah.
And then
a lot of comedies.
Yeah.
Which we haven't hit up yet.
No.
But I'm sure it's coming. Mm-hmm. But in the 40s, a lot of comedies.
I haven't seen this. Could be comedy.
People wanted to have a good laugh while all the horribleness was going on. So, when bad things are happening, comedies are always popular.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a bad one. I don't mind that one at all.
Yeah. All right. So, your number 3. Oh, yeah.
So, this is a strange choice because there's really not much to it. Art wise, and there's a lot of text that is literally just names.
Yeah,
and the reason for that is because of the nature of the type of movie and it's basically all about the cameos and stuff from the big names.
Yeah. It was a musical.
Yeah, it's just like sort of a variety kind of. Initially,
every name on there is
So initially, I was like, "There's no way! This is ridiculous. This is nothing, right?"
Yeah.
And then, because it caught my eye, and I was like, "That's an interesting poster." And then I was like, "But that's it goes against everything that I've ever expressed about."
The last 8 episodes, we've been this is the worst kind of poster.
So I pushed it aside, and then I would keep looking at more, and I just couldn't shake this out of my head. I just kept coming back to it in my mind. There's something about it that just is really cool to me. I don't know if it's because of the weird sort of way that the title kind of cuts through and sort of it's sort of fit in there and just kind of, and then
it breaks the poster up in a way.
It's an odd sort of the illustration at the bottom, and then the way that
slightly cartoony.
I don't know what it is, but I can't get it out of my head. I was just I'm gonna put it right in the middle, put it at 3, because there's something about it that captures me, and I can't get it out of my head, and I don't know why. I cannot explain it. It's just something about it just gets me. It's weird.
Yeah, no. I saw this one while doing it, and I was like, I think I would have gone for it if it wasn't for the. I mean, I completely understand why you would have the huge, because it's literally.
I mean, that's the kind of the point.
Well,
right?
It becomes a selling point, and then it's in the well, if we just put all the names on there, it almost becomes a bit of comedy. How many names can we put on a poster kind of deal?
Yeah. But it's you see a lot of movies where
it'd be if they did a trailer for this and they would just show you character after character after character.
And they have a lot of movies where on the poster it'll be something like a cast of all stars, or like Hollywood's biggest stars come together, blah blah blah.
And what was it if we named them all?
There's something that's kind of admirable about just no, we're just gonna literally just put all the names there.
Yeah.
you know, and then people could just be like, oh, Jack Benny, oh, I love Jack Benny, Eddie Cantor, holy moly, you know, Joe
I mean,
Crawford.
it is a hell of a casting list of...
So I mean, like, I don't know, it's just, I guess maybe it's like I respect the boldness.
Yes.
Like, it's very bold to just be like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what we're giving you. Mm-hmm. And that's all you get. And then, like, you know, which is...
I dig the font on the title, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, obviously, you know, an artist figured that out. So,
but, it's very John.
I don't know.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know what it is, but I couldn't shake it. I was just like, it kept coming back into my head. And I was like, you know what?
Can't stop reading all these names.
Yeah. yeah.
They've got me.
S.Z. Cuddles Sakal.
Yeah.
Oh, Roy Rogers and Trigger. Very important to mention Roy Rogers and Trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Ida Lupino.
Yeah.
Betty Davis, Faye Emerson.
Yeah. I mean, some
Sidney
of them...
Greenstreet.
Yeah. Peter Lorre.
Yeah.
Like, some of them I'm like, I know that I recognize the name, but I'm like, I don't recall, like, where from or, like, what they actually are.
Now I'm curious, like, what all these characters do in this movie. Like, how...
Well, I think it's just that. Like, I think it's, like, a variety, like a mishmash of, like, all just, like, fun, like it's just Hollywood, like, entertaining you.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, that's good.
We should see if there's like a trailer or something.
Yeah. I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
All right, so it'd be your 2?
My number 2. So this is just straight up a French film.
Okay.
And
that is nice.
That
almost looks too nice to be from 44.
That's what I thought.
But there are other posters from 44 that are like this, especially foreign.
Yes, yeah.
So so I think it is original, but it's definitely unusual. So
translates is The Woman Who Dares. I believe
Okay.
is the English translation. I don't think it's a direct translation, but that's, I think, what was brought over. And this is a real nice... This is actually like, I think, a restoration of it. Because, like, this was off IMDb and looked like this. Everywhere else, the posters were all, like, faded or folded or rough shape.
But I think it's still the original.
Oh yeah. You could tell from like I think it's just been touched up to
sure. But like I do recall, like I did come across other. I didn't see this one because I didn't look at foreign posters, but I definitely saw this on, or not this, but like this style on like a bunch of like European releases and stuff like that. They definitely had this kind of vibe. I definitely didn't see this one, but.
Yeah. There is again.
Apparently, she's being projected into the Phantom Zone as well from off screen. It's coming down.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I mean, it's a story about a woman who wanted to become a pilot during a time when like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's the really like clean art on like her face, and then cut almost. Like it's like almost like a different art style, like her helmet and like it's sort of like her helmet, but is it like the nose of a plane? Yeah. I just thought I was just like, wow, this is like cream of the crop for me.
Yeah, it's good. I just
again, I had to poke into foreign films
that deeply.
yeah. All right. So okay, now this will be your 1.
This is my 2.
Oh, your 2.
You
right.
went first.
I went first. Right. Okay. So this is your 2.
Yep.
Oh, Dangerous Past.
Yeah, this is one that I saw early on in looking, and I was like, "That's pretty cool with the shadow kind of looming and the
silhouetted kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously some sort of like noirish thriller type of thing, you know, a killer or something.
It's a man with a dangerous future and a girl with a dangerous past in breathtaking adventure on a fog-shrouded murder ship.
Oh, I mean...
Well, that just tells you what the movie's about, right there.
I'm sold. When how fast can I book passage?
I simply would not be on the murder ship, personally.
I would like to book passage
on the
murder ship. As long as I was not the subject of the murder.
Oh, fair enough.
But, like, I would like to be there when it happens.
All right. You want to experience it without being...
Well, because it's frog shrouded.
Yeah.
I mean, fog shrouded. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not frog shouted.
No, it's not a French film. No frogs.
It's frog shrouded. Fog shrouded murder ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of hyphening, first of all.
Yes.
But still, it's great. But yeah, I don't know. I like the... It's very sort of dynamic. I like the...
Again, no floating heads.
I really like that.
It's all full body painted.
Interesting kind of with the title sort of breaking out of the like yellow square that then has all the other
Well, there's like, it's almost like 3 layers. Like it's the guy and the lady are the back, dangerous passage, and that is in the middle. And then...
But I really like this sort of
in the front
shadow, like the killer.
Oh, there's 2 people there. There's like, he's like carrying somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of missed that.
It's like a bald dude there.
Yeah, that almost looks like
it's
like
very
an over.
important to the plot.
It's almost that he's bald.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's extremely
okay. That's the linchpin to that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because they'll be like, because it'll be like, like all signs point to him being the killer, but he can't be the killer because he's bald, and the killer clearly has a full head of hair.
Oh, okay. Wigs not invented in this world. Okay. Fair enough.
Wigs are expensive to get a good one.
It's true. No hair pieces. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I remember seeing this pop up.
Yeah.
I think
apparently starring Robert Phillis and Lowry Brooks.
I think that's supposed to... the way they did the spacing is... dead inside, do not open. Yeah. Oops. Oops. Why did they space it like that?
Fine.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, no, I saw this when I was looking, and the version that I first saw was like not as dynamically colored as this,
right.
And so I dismissed it on that.
It's the shadow killer that got me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the knife, and
that's shadow hyphen killer.
Oh right.
On the frog.
On the frog.
I said frog shouted again. On the fog hyphen shrouded murder hyphen ship.
Yes. He's also throwing the knife. He's got the knife like he's going to throw it. Not stab
he's a knife trick guy.
Yeah.
He's his backstory.
I wonder what constitutes a dangerous future. I mean, a dangerous past, sure, but what's a dangerous future?
He's about to go over a waterfall.
Yeah, he booked passage on the frog shrouded murder ship.
All right, so you're one.
My number 1.
Oh. I definitely did not see this either. It's another Fox Europa. It's more French.
Yes, it is French.
You heavily leaned on the French.
I heavily leaned on the French on this one. This is actually the French version of an American movie, The Lodge.
Okay.
The American, I was like, The Lodge. Oh, it's very it's got a good sounding name.
Right.
And the posters all had great font work and then a terrible poster. And I was like, and then I was like, oh, what is this? Jack L'Aventure. All right. And I was like, oh, this is a great poster. I'm going to book this away. And then I was looking in, and I was like, oh, that's just what they called the movie in France for some reason, because I guess The Lodge maybe didn't translate as well. But I thought it's also shadowy figure in the background there. They give him the colored eyes.
Yeah.
And then the bright pop of the dancer in reddish, lightish red on the front there. Yeah.
I mean, I think they call that pink.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, no. And it's the Fox Europa.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I mean, I didn't dig that deeply, so I didn't see all these French versions. So.
But yeah,
power to you. Like you said, I mean, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah,
when we did before, because I had so much trouble.
Yeah.
I think that was the 2020 one, actually.
Was that the 2020
yeah, it was
one?
The most recent.
Oh, okay.
I had to go into all kinds of.
Yeah, you looked at Canadian films. That's right.
Yeah, I did a bunch of Canadian ones.
And you got some good ones. You got some good ones.
I did some Canadian ones, and
the vampire movie that's actually a werewolf movie was that.
Yeah. And I mean, I did do that a little bit with some of the other ones, but certainly not to this extent.
I gotta say, it's definitely before when like more modern, and I'm gonna say more modern is like 90s and later.
Yeah.
Like movie posters were very much more consistent regardless of where they were released.
Yeah.
When you started getting back into like the 40s and the 50s, like they were like, oh, we're releasing this in another market.
Yeah.
And like, or a movie would have 4 different posters,
right,
and they would all be wildly different.
You can definitely see with these that like the disconnect between like the American style and the European style.
Yeah.
Because like all those European ones, particularly French, but like but you know, that's the continent. The European continent, it's all kind of, similar thing in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
They all have like a fairly consistent, like you're like, oh yeah, that's the style of like, European.
Sorry, it's the lodger, not the lodge.
Yeah, European posters in the 40s and such.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely see a certain style, and then on the American side, you can definitely see a certain style, but they're like totally different.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Like that's the American one. It's just a bunch of text randomly. Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
It was just like a bunch of text randomly shoved on the screen. It is a bit different. I'll have to include this in the actual thing now that we've talked about it. Because these are photos, cutouts, not painted, which is...
That is
one of the few that I saw that looked like that.
Yeah. Sometimes they do that.
Yeah. All right, so your number 1. Yeah. Oh, I hope this is what I think it's going to be. Oh!
Which we actually did an episode on what we watched with Rita Hayworth, Gene Kelly.
Yeah, great movie.
I mean, it's just so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just so, like, happy and pleasant.
It's got great vibes.
Yeah.
Everything from, well, I mean, hey, if you got Rita Hayworth in your movie, you fill up as much of the poster as possible with Rita Hayworth, right? And then the rest doesn't really matter. Cool. We got to put the title on there so people know what to go see.
Sure,
but,
true. All that is very true.
So we're like, what do we have Rita Hayworth? And also, like, another Rita Hayworth, and more Rita Hayworth, and then some, cartoon Rita Hayworth.
True, but...
you know who's not on this poster? Gene Kelly. Too bad Gene Kelly suck rocks.
He wasn't that big of a star at the time.
No.
We talked about when we did the movie.
Yeah, he was still... Yeah.
So he was sort of lucky to be there.
Yeah.
To be honest. But, it just makes me happy. You know? Like, it's just such a great, pleasant...
Mm-hmm. It's a very pleasing yellow.
Especially after, like, all the dark, like, noir and horror kind of stuff, and you're just like... Which is, all great, but, like... It's a nice sort of break from that, and kind of just like
just take a
just have a big old glass of lemonade.
Like no mummy in this one. This is Come Girl, Technicolor. We got Lee Brown, Phil Sarah. All right from the dancers and everything that were in that. I'm just trying to remember, like, what was that movie about? Right, yeah. But we did that as part of that trio of films. Loosely connected trio of films.
With Down to Earth and
Xanadu. Yeah.
Well, because the connection was because Gene Kelly. In Xanadu, Gene Kelly literally plays his character from CoverGirl.
That's right.
And then Down to Earth, Rita Hayworth's character in Down to Earth is not the same character as in this, but Rita Hayworth's character in Down to Earth is essentially the same character that Olivia Newton-John plays in Xanadu.
Right.
But not literally, but because they're both based off of the same mythological, like the Muse.
The Muse, that's right. It was Muse-based.
Yeah,
right.
I forget the name, but it's literally the same one. Like, they're based on the same... mythological character. So that's where that connection between those 3 movies was. So
okay. All right. So now it is time to spin the wheel. Should I take the
40s out?
Should I take the 40s just off here?
Don't take the 40s completely out just yet.
I'll just do it quick.
We'll see what happens. We may have to do a couple of...
I hit the shuffle a couple of times here.
Yeah, we might have to do a couple of spins just to get something useful. But
it's random, but not totally random.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right.
It's random assisted.
Yeah. And here we go.
I mean, we still need something like 2000, like...
1981?
I mean, we've literally only done one 80s and was 85.
Yeah.
We have done 79, which is pretty close to 81. But I think it'll be different enough.
Yeah, you think it'll be different enough?
I think it'll be different enough. And considering we've only done one other 80s, and it was 85, so I think it'll be fine. Yeah. 81.
All right. So look for that in a couple of weeks, 1981. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us, and we'll be back then. Until then, I'm Chris.
This is Evan.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.